Welcome to the DJ Insider Podcast, sponsored by Amplified Events.
It's the only podcast where we break down insider information from our weddings, experience, and advice from over 15 years in the wedding industry.
We're your hosts. I'm Maycen, owner of Amplified Events.
And I'm Joe Obamani, the general manager of Amplified Events.
Let's get into it. Okay.
All right.
Guys, we're back.
We're back.
Yes.
Hey, hey.
Friend of the podcast, and you are our most popular podcast guest now.
Yay!
3 times. Love it. Yeah, welcome back. We're glad to have you back on, of course. I wanted to have you on for so many reasons, but one of the coolest things I'd heard about is that you had just got back from overseas. Mm-hmm. So where did you go? Tell us all about that.
So I went to Queenstown, New Zealand, and it was a filmmakers retreat. So it was led by Good Coast Studios and just people from like all over the U.S. We had a girl from Australia come, and we all stayed in an Airbnb together. We were about like a 5-minute drive from downtown Queenstown, which was really nice because just really nice central area, and just like the view was insane. Like just mountains everywhere. We could see a mountain from our Airbnb where like Lord of the Rings like was filmed.
Oh wow!
Like one of the locations.
Dude.
So
cool.
And like we like went on this hike one day where it was filmed, and yeah, it was just it's summer there right now, so it was like 70s, and I was like, "Yep, get me out of Northwest Indiana, cold winter. Let me go vacay for a week," kind of thing. So. Yeah.
Dude, heck yeah.
That
So
sounds awesome.
kind of the goal of the retreat was kind of like educational, kind of like helping sharpen your skills, and one of the most beautiful places on earth, apparently, to to shoot. And was that like a whole thing to like bring the equipment and travel and
Yeah, so we all brought our own cameras. Some of the videographers work with monitors. I don't. I just brought like microphone equipment. And then, so people brought their own equipment. And it was interesting as we all met up at LAX, and then going through security with everyone, like every other person in our group was getting stopped and their bag checked. I never got checked for my equipment because I was just like so light with it.
Yeah.
But like Chris, the guy who led it, he had a lot of stuff, and he's just such a pro. And so his stuff was more advanced, and they were like, "What is this? What do you have in your bag?" So
Yeah, bombs and rifles and trinkets and all the bad stuff.
got a whole arsenal here.
Yeah, whole arsenal here.
we're just coming in guns a-blazing to New Zealand, honestly.
Yeah.
We're gonna shoot.
Quick pulls a
The
camera.
landscape.
The landscape, exactly.
Did you know any of the people beforehand? Was it like kind of a group?
Yeah, so 2 of the girls that were going, I met them through a mastermind class I did through How to Film Weddings in like 2 years ago. And we were with a much bigger group, and we stayed in an Airbnb in Palm Springs, California together in January 2022. So it's been
A couple years.
a couple of years since I've seen them in person. One of them she currently lives in Kansas City. The other lives in Minnesota. And then the person leading the retreat is from Oregon. We had a girl from Australia and then a girl from LA.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
So
All
like
over.
literally all
Yeah,
over
all
the
over.
place. Yeah. But the 2 girls that I knew beforehand, like we just kind of connected over like our weekly Zoom meets when we did mastermind. And then, stayed in the Airbnb together. And that was probably like 75 videographers that all came together for like a year-end celebration of the class, and from literally everywhere. So it was nice to know people going into the New Zealand, but then also to meet new people. But the point of it was to be just like a much more intimate group. And like we did styled shoots while we were there. So for everyone to have like their equal opportunity to get their shot and not be rushed, and to like fully take in like what the knowledge that he was sharing with us.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, because with Mastermind, it was like 20 people at a time in this spot and 20 people at a time in this spot for styled shoots in like Joshua Tree. And we were like, we don't have time. Like I can't get my shot. Like this is chaos. So yeah, just to have like 6 people focused in and really like take in the scenery and like know the couple. Like we went to dinner with the couple afterwards, and it was like,
Nice.
it was
That's really cool.
so chill. We had Japanese tapas. or something. I've never had Japanese food before. So this whole trip was like, let me get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But it was comfortable.
Really nice.
Yeah.
How was the flight? Like you said, you all met at LAX. What was the rest of the travel like?
Yeah. So once we all got to LAX, it was a 13-hour flight from there to North Island, New Zealand. And then from North Island to south where Queenstown is was another 2 hours. So that 2 hours felt like nothing.
Yeah.
Like middle of the day.
Just got off a 13-hour.
Right.
Let's go. That's a walk in the park.
Yeah,
That's
we all sat next to
hilarious.
each other on the 13-hour flight, which was nice. Like not right next to each other. Like I had a girl I knew, then an aisle, then me, then a couple, and then the guy leading the retreat, and then an aisle, and then another person that we knew. So it was like just this couple in between us, but they were like super nice, older married couple coming for vacation. So we were like, cool. I slept maybe 45 minutes the whole time
my
out.
gosh.
Which I went to Paris a few years ago and it was the same thing. I was like, maybe I got half an hour sleep because I like looking out the window. I like knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
There's strange people around me.
Yeah.
Like I can't
Yeah.
relax.
Yes.
There's a
Yeah.
lot going on.
Yeah.
Lots to take in.
Lots
here.
to see, lots
Yes.
to do. Yeah.
I'm 36,000 feet in the air. You want me to
Yeah.
sleep? No.
Yeah, I
Nice
think,
try,
you know,
pilots.
Yeah.
Just like binge watched a bunch of rom-coms. So, and I edited while I was on the plane.
Oh,
But
heck yeah.
Got
yeah.
the time. Might as
Yeah.
well.
I just think that's so cool that it's something that since I've known you, it seems like something that you're passionate about is kind of destination shoots, like weddings and whatever. You know, if there's some beautiful area that I haven't been to before, I want to go shoot it. And it seems like that's kind of direction you're going with your business, and that's really exciting. Has there been things that let's start with, I guess, the strengths. Like, what are the things that are draw to you to this type of work? What are the things that you really like about it, that you look forward to doing, that sort of thing?
So I really enjoy just being outside, like in nature. I visit as many national parks as I can. And so that is the main appeal, I feel like, just like traveling. Growing up, I've always wanted to travel. My dad travels for work. And so seeing like all these places he was going when I was little, I was like, I want to be able to do that when I grow up. And so like with weddings and elopements, there's obviously that route to go with the destination weddings. And yeah, just being outside, I feel like people who are really focused on their connection with their partner, why they're getting married, those types of people tend to be more drawn to destination elopements as well versus like the big grandiose like 150 person wedding, which it's like either way I like both of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But with destination it's just I can meet people, tell their story and see the world. Like that's so awesome.
Yeah.
So
Checks a lot of boxes.
Yes.
It's more intimate, like getting to work with the couple and not 150 people and have to photograph every single person at the wedding, which absolutely, you love doing that too. But I did this one wedding where they were just kind of doing a post-celebration because when they actually did their wedding, it was an elopement. They had a photographer and it was just them two, a maid of honor and a best man. And they all were hiking buddies. They all loved hiking. They hiked up a mountain and the photographer went with them. And they just, on top of this super, super tall mountain at the peak of it, got married. And all the photos are just this beautiful mountainscape in the background. And it was just like 4 or 5 people. And it was such a beautiful thing. We played a slideshow of it at like the wedding that we did for them. It was like a mock wedding, but it was such a good time just to like see that elopement process. And the couples definitely loved each other. Like they loved each other, and it was just them. And it was sweet. I really like seeing that.
I mean, it kind of leads me into my next question is like, do you see any similarities and do you see any differences from like, here is a hometown wedding celebration that you're shooting or, you know, a destination wedding?
I think the biggest difference that doesn't have to do with like the inner workings of the interpersonal relationships is less work going into it, like less vendors. You know, you plan a lot for the travel aspects and accommodations and all that, but like I did a micro wedding for my friend from college and she lives in Northwest Indiana. Her husband lives up here, but her husband's family lives in Arizona and they went to get married in just a park in Arizona. and she flew me out there to go capture it, and we like live streamed on Facebook, and I made them a video.
Is it northern Arizona, southern?
It was like Tucson area.
Southern.
So yeah, like I was her only vendor for the whole day. I helped with her makeup. I helped with her hair. I took photo and video.
So you did it all.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
wow.
we drove her to the park and then to brunch afterwards.
Chauffeur.
And
Wedding
yeah,
specialist.
Yes.
Yeah, doing it
Is
all.
that-
doing it all.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and we met like the day before and went to Catalina State Park, and I just filmed them like hiking and just spending time with each other. It was hot, but like I love the heat. I love being in the sun. So I was like, this is awesome. But yeah, just like you get to spend a lot more intentional time with your couples if you get the privilege to work with them in that kind of situation. And there's just not as much going on. It's just like, it's so much more laid back.
It's not rushed.
Yeah.
You can really just take your time, be yourself. Let me get this shot. Oh, let's take it again. Let's do it again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of an experience, I guess I'll say. I feel like a wedding is its own experience, but just going.
There is
and-
that time crunch that
Yeah.
you're under.
It's like,
You
oh,
feel
let's
like-
experience this within an hour.
Yeah.
And it's like, no,
Like,
like,
I have to be out by 8:30 and dance floor got pushed back to 8 and
Right.
like we have to get all of the dance floor photos in under 30 minutes and definitely
You guys have 15
crunch
minutes
time.
to show me your love on camera right now.
Right.
now.
And like I've seen
And
a
the
lot
weather's
of people,
not cooperating.
right, and that's why I feel like a lot of couples recently have been doing the photo at every table dash, like the photo dash is like we need to get a photo with everybody now because we're not gonna get one with everybody. If we start dancing and people get up and move around, it is never gonna happen where you have a photo of every person at your wedding.
Are you guys pro or con the photo dash? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
I like when the couple has people come up to them and it's like kind of pre-organized, or if you can pre-organize like going through but I don't really like if it's a tighter space having to weave in and out of tables and get people to mush to one side because it just feels very cluttered and stressful.
Yeah.
It does always work out better if they're sitting in the middle of the dance floor.
And you
like
can
on two
control the
chairs.
light.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
and everyone else runs up. Then it's fun for them. Like they're like, oh, we got it.
Yeah, then they
Here we
feel
go.
more rushed. Then it's like actually a dash.
It feels more like a game for the whole crowd to be involved. As if they run and they come and then they go back to their table and the couple gets to stay there and not have to run around. I don't
Yeah.
know. But also, I don't like having to do it in one song. I think that's where I draw the line. Is like no one's ever gonna do it in one song unless I play Freebird.
Dude.
No one's gonna get it done in one song.
I'll let you know a little secret.
You can always loop it.
I loop it.
know. You
Every
can
time I
the
loop
thing.
it. Nobody's
I know.
ever finished it in the one song. I always loop it. And I do it in the way that the crowd doesn't notice. Although
So it is
sometimes-
one song.
It is, well,
It's one song, but
technically.
But it's hey ya. And
I
you
can
just do
loop
the,
it
all
from
right,
now
all right,
until
all
it's
right,
a-
all right, all right.
That's right. That's
For
right.
10
Exactly.
minutes.
That's it.
Until they're done. I don't mind it. I like it.
I've seen it one time where they actually got it within the actual song, but it was a smaller guest list.
75-person wedding.
So if
Yeah.
couples are going to do that, the way to make it the best, easiest thing is, it sounds like, let's set you up on the dance floor or at your table. Let's have people come to you. That way we can have the lighting all set. Everything is ready to go, and your guests run in, take a quick photo, and then
I think so, because then you can have a table on deck always, and they know. And like I can
Have
have,
the
table 2 up
yeah.
there, table 3 get on deck.
Let's go,
and, like,
let's go.
They're waiting next.
Get
to
ready.
it. Table 4 knows. I don't. It really flows that way.
Grandma, take a knee.
Grandma, get in.
Plus, like for photo video, you can also like control your settings a lot better if you're in the same spot for that kind of thing where people are rushing versus, oh, I'm running with my equipment, weaving and bopping through people, and I got to change my settings when I get here.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes more sense.
Absolutely.
It makes total sense. It's the people are easier to move, and you're able to get a better shot of everybody. Plus, then it makes it more fun for everyone else rather than the couple. It's like,
They're winning by the end.
hopefully, I'm not too sweaty for this photo.
That's a good point.
Make a weird face. Yeah. Everyone can the couple can relax, and the guests are kind of forced to move. That's the move. That's the way to do it.
I
Okay.
think so.
From now on, I'm going to advise it that way. I
There you
think it's the similar way videographers have told me, because when we talk about speeches and they're like, where are they going to stand? And I go, in my experience, wherever they want. But I can do my best. And one of the tricks I do is I'll introduce them and I'll go stand where do you want them to stand? And I will stand there and I'll make them come to me.
Yeah.
But I go, after I step out of the shot and hand the mic,
They're gonna walk away.
they're gonna, and they almost always do. They immediately drop the mic, below their waist. So happy for everyone here. They're whispering. They're not projecting, and the mic is never near their face. And then they walk away. I don't know why, but it's a human thing. They just get nervous, I guess. And anyway, with the shooting, with the travel, what kind of initially draws you to that? Like it seems like there's something there that inspires you that I really like this.
I don't know. I think it's a culmination of life experiences that draws me to it. Like, I did not go away to college. I stayed at home and I drove 7 minutes down the street to go to college, which was great. Like, I saved money and cool. But like growing up, I always looked forward to, I want to go away to college. Like, I was going to go to Ball State, and that did not happen. Chirp, chirp.
That's where
I
went.
Is that a cardinal chirp? Is that heard?
Chirp, chirp. But yeah, like, that ended up not being in the cards for me. And so it's like, I still kind of had that, like, I want to get out of here kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, the whole experience of traveling, like, a 13-hour plane ride kind of sucks. But also, I got work done. I got entertainment in, like, a little bit of sleep, I guess. But it's like, it's not part of your everyday. It's just so different. You get to see different parts of the world and meet new people. Like, it was so cool to not only to people watch, but like to watch the people that were in my group on this trip, like interacting with strangers and just being able to have like such a friendly conversation, no agenda, no time crunch, and just be like, why are you guys over here? Where are you from? What are you doing? And just like learning about different people and being exposed to all that is like, I think everyone should travel. That's just me. But yeah.
I love it. If you could do it every weekend, would you? That would be quite the ordeal. But
for sure I would.
Speaking of ordeal, what are the challenges in traveling? I've only traveled for 2 weddings, like in a serious way. I guess I've traveled for weddings in every weekend, but in a serious way where it's like more than 3-hour drive,
I feel like the biggest stressor for me that's like a potential challenge is like my car. Like, what is it going to do? What's going to happen? Like, will I have enough gas to get there, even though because I do not have good gas mileage. And it's like, am I prepared to fix a flat tire? No, I'm not. So like, what if there's this big like traffic deal? Like the actual driving part, I always stress out about. But then as far as like time, I'm always leaving and giving like huge buffer time. And if it's way out of my way, like I'm just going to stay the night wherever the event's taking place. Yeah. And I feel like that takes a lot of pressure off. And then, I think the biggest challenge is just like, if I haven't been there before.
Yeah.
Figuring out the space.
The light, everything, the sound, how it's going to look and sound and feel. And
but light's always the same. Sound is always the same. Like the way you work with it is going to be the same. It's just, what are you given? Yeah. So
do you have any advice for couples who are like, let's say it's like your sister or a friend, someone close to you getting married, and they have the option to do a destination or do something at home. What advice would you give to them in that scenario?
I would just have them like really think about what their priorities are for the day. I think that's really like the biggest determining factor on whether or not you want to travel or stay local. If a top priority for you is having like a bunch of family there and your family is from Southern Indiana and you're in Northern Indiana, okay, go Central Indiana or go to, something like
meet them halfway.
Compromise or something. Or if you want them all to come to you and just have it local because you have really strong ties to where you are locally. Or if it's like, I don't have strong ties to any location, I want to go get married in Redwoods, then great, go to Redwoods and then hire me as your videographer.
Yes.
I would love to go.
I would love to go. I think just your priorities.
And so this is maybe, and feel free to not answer this or answer it in your own. I assume you quote it differently because if I'm working, like literally there's a venue like next door I could walk to that I've DJ'd at for like a party. Like that, I quote differently than one that's 3 hours away. That's 300 people, and it's like multiple rooms and equipment. There's just more work associated with the 3 hour away one than there is the one next door. Do you find that you have to kind of adjust?
Yeah, especially like mostly for flying. Ones I have to fly to, which it hasn't been many. Like, let me be transparent. Like, a big reason why I went on this trip was to get more content to market, to get into it. Yeah. But for driving, I've always I track my mileage, obviously. And so if it's outside an hour of driving, then I'm like, okay. And I just quote them based on that. But that's really the only thing that changes is how far am I driving? Not really I don't really care about how many people are there necessarily, but I guess I'll take that back.
We do only because it's more people, it's more ears, which means more sound.
That makes sense.
You know, and so that's I don't care either, except it means more equipment I have to bring or set up or account for with the amount of people there.
That makes sense. I do have one in Valpo actually this summer, and it's 25 people. And so that is it's 25 people and 6 hours, I think. And I'm working with a preferred photographer. So, and the couple's from, they're from California. They're coming here because their family's here.
Dude.
Oh, wow,
So,
nice.
So I'm like, oh, this is small. This is quick. They just want to make sure that it's captured. That's a totally different story than a 10-hour day with 150 people. For sure. Yeah. So, it depends on the numbers and the time and
Yeah. I mean, I've only done the 3 destination weddings. One was in Disney at Florida, and one was at San Diego, in California, and one was in Jefferson City, Missouri.
Oh, okay, cool.
The rest were all Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, driving. But the one in Florida, I had to fly, I had a hotel, I had to rent a car, I brought my main turntable and a backup. I had 2 laptops, headphones. And then luckily the groom's family, his uncle owned a production company. So they took care of lighting, they took care of sound, microphones. I just had to plug and play.
Yeah.
But if not, I would have had to coordinate, organize, pay for that. So that would have been a different fee associated with it. But also, we got into this thing where, if you're there for the weekend, you're not there for a day. Generally, I don't charge couples for I have to go get food from a restaurant or gas station or I need a bottle of water. I don't charge couples for that. That's just kind of part of the fee they pay us.
Right.
I work it into it. I need to keep my body moving to DJ your wedding. I need my caffeine or whatever.
Yeah.
But this couple, I was there for, 72 hours. I had to charge a per diem. I need food. I need, and this is stuff that I would have covered myself normally, but I'm stuck here.
Yeah.
So we did kind of a per diem kind of, do you do anything like that? Or is it quoted differently? Or is it just kind of here's the price and I'll figure it out myself? I don't know. Everyone does it differently,
I kind of I consider all those different factors when I set my base price. I have an expedition package is what I call it.
I like that.
And so that's 2 to 3 days for destination stuff. And so that way I know I'm covered for just very basic
flight, hotel,
food, water.
travel.
Yeah. But that's the starting price along with the services, obviously. So if there's more added expense depending on what if it's in Cabo versus Nashville, that's going to be different.
Yeah.
So I definitely consider that.
Do you have I would love to shoot here? Do you have a dream spot that you'd love to go or a couple spots that you would man, your wedding's gonna be in Morocco?
Right.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
That's on my list anyways. I've been meaning to go to Japan,
Yeah. I do have a little list on my website that I kind of made, but obviously there's so many places I want to go. But for basic wedding, Iceland and Italy are big ones. I did have friends that were going to get married in Italy, and it was going to be a week long, just their family. They're going to rent this mansion, have a private chef, and I was can I come film that, please? Like, you don't have to pay me. Like, I just want it.
Yes. This would be awesome.
This would be amazing. I've always wanted to go to Italy. And they were like, well, video wasn't really in our budget. And I was like, I was like, I don't care. I was like, I just want to come. And then they ended up not even doing, they ended up having like a very private ceremony, and that followed by a reception with guests at White Oak Farm, or not White Oak Farm venue. What's the other one in DeMont?
Sandy Pines, Whispering Oaks.
Whispering Oaks. Yeah, they ended up doing it there, and then they honeymooned in Italy for 2 weeks. So it's like, okay, cool, you still got to go. Yeah. But yeah, Italy, Iceland, Redwoods. I've done one in North Carolina already, which I love North Carolina. So I would do that again for sure. Yeah, there's just so many, like, Yosemite.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be really awesome.
Yeah, those are probably my top 4.
A friend of mine got married in Yosemite, and the pictures are insane.
I bet.
What?
I don't know how it's going to be now, like, with, not to get political, but now with, like, the layoffs with the national parks and everything, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know what.
There might be changes to
Yeah.
what is allowed and what is not, and the staff
Yeah.
that can cover. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably going to be a crackdown on the amount of, like, permits given for people to be able to elope in these places.
Because there's just less people to cover and help with it. Makes sense.
That's a concern. But also, if you can do it, do it.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes, and hire Maycen. I go, fellow.
Yeah.
So you've recently kind of jumped on our team and assisted, and we're excited to have you kind of in a more busier way this year. Anything you've immediately, I mean, we just did the one wedding, but were there like things you're like, oh, wow, like this is a totally different day, DJing it versus shooting it? Like, what was your reaction when we did that wedding in November? Were you like, I guess, yeah, what was your reaction? Like, any thoughts?
Yeah, the setup of the day, like the time that you come in to the day and set up, and how it's like you don't see people while you're setting up, like that was different for me, because typically, like, I'm coming in much earlier, like I'm there while the girls and guys are getting ready,
Like
and
9, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., like
yeah,
early.
Yeah, like nowadays it's probably closer to like 10:30.
But when you arrive, there's people there.
Yeah, there's people there as soon as I arrive. Like I don't even have my camera out of my bag yet. So yeah, that part was different. It was cool just for you. We were at Allure on the Lake, so just to walk in there, no one's in there yet.
Quiet when we set up there.
Yeah.
They wall off the things with the
the
rope stuff or whatever.
Sorry, guests.
Sorry, not allowed back here. Actually,
I
we see
love
nobody.
that, by the way.
Yeah.
I
so
love
do
that. I don't like when people are around me when I'm setting up. Like because I'm focused on setting up the best I can. you know?
Right.
Anyway, sorry.
So yeah, that was different. It was nice to experience for sure, because like if I'm going from getting ready to like a church or ceremony spot, like there's someone in the ceremony spot supervising, or a florist finishing setup, or like whatever, or guests already there if I'm going from another location. And so it's like, oh, you're watching me set up my tripod, and I don't like that.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like if it gets stuck and I'm like,
Watching me struggle now, and I don't like it.
yeah, too much pressure. So yeah, that was different. And then just like the way that I guess you guys interact with your couples as it in the DJ role versus like photo video role.
The goals are different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I have so much appreciation for, and it's so cool to like be able to recognize that. Cause yeah, like you guys do a lot of your communication with your couples, correct me if I'm wrong, but like ahead of time.
Yeah.
And so you get there day of, and you know what the expectations are on both ends.
We also know what's happening, and we're uniquely in control in a way, because we're going to be making the announcement.
Yeah.
So I know the photographers and videographers listening at home are going to be like, yeah, like we would like to. That would be really nice to have that information, and for us to be the people who are doing the stuff and being in control of the calendar, of the timeline of it all. But yeah, we get to like meet them, get to know them, get to understand what's important to them, who are the key members of their family or friends that are important? What are the moments that they want to happen, and when do they want to happen? And we have a big influence about that. Now, there's a lot that's out of our control.
It's a live event. Things are going to
It's
go.
a live event with people.
Yeah.
Like,
But the goals are so different,
Yeah.
I mean, our goals are like, we want to say everything correctly. We want to make sure that things are happening in an easy flow of the day, that in the way that they kind of envision, that to the best of our abilities happening when it's supposed to happen, balancing all of the other vendors who are a part of this. But the biggest thing we want to do is to throw this amazing party for them, that they're able to create memories and have cool moments where they're closing their eyes on the dance floor, they're singing out loud, and there's just, do you remember that time that we all had an amazing night at so-and-so's wedding? Like, that's happening right now. But we don't, luckily, after the wedding, we don't do too much. Like, we don't have to do any real work after that. We go on to the next one. We are there just to perform at that event. And so the goals are obviously different than compared to what you guys are doing.
Yeah. And like, not to say that I don't pre-plan with my couples either. Like, I have at least 2 calls with them just to see, again, like, what are the priorities, but their priorities communicated with me versus with you guys is very different. Like you said, because I'm also creating a film for them to watch every year on their anniversary. Hopefully, like, some people might just go put it in store. I have no idea.
hopefully not, right?
Hopefully not. But yeah, it's like I'm trying to curate this experience while they're working with me, and then obviously day of. And I like to take more of like a fly on the wall approach when it comes to interacting with them. Like, I'm there to hype them up, but also I'm not there to get in the way. Yeah. I'm not trying to like alter what's going on. And so then like that takes place, but then also, like the editing.
A lot of post communication. Like our like we were saying, like ours ends kind of day of wedding.
Yeah.
We send an email the next day like, hey, hope you had a great time. Like, could you leave us a review?
Yeah.
Communication's over. You have like weeks, months sometimes if you're editing. Would you like this? Like, maybe there's some changes they'd like. I mean, there's so much post communication that you could potentially have, and that's the major difference, I think, is that our communication's done most of the time. Like
most of the time. Most of the time. And our goals then, most of our goals are aligned with like the main goal of, we want to make memories for them. And what we know is that people who make memories are people who are relaxed, people who can let loose and have fun. And so our whole thing is to take stress off of people. And so we don't need them to do a first dance. If they want that, we need to make sure they do that. But we need them to relax and have fun. We need their people to do their speeches. We need them to relax and to keep it short, because we know that long speeches that are boring, they kill the energy of a room. We need energy high. We need energy to be celebratory. We need people to be feeling things, and those things to be good, not to be, we're exhausted, we're boring, we're hungry, we're intoxicated beyond belief. We like some of that.
A little bit. In good taste.
And that's when security takes in at later in the night. That's when their time to shine. I just think it's so fascinating that the goals are similar, but very different in a way that it's fascinating to me anyways. I just thought it'd be interesting to ask you what you thought being in a DJ role versus being in a videographer role.
I definitely appreciated walking away and not having to do any more work on that event. 100%.
Heck yeah.
I was like, oh, we're done? Cool. See ya.
We go home and that's it.
Well, what's tough is like we're there to kind of make the memories. You guys are there to capture the memories. And we're lucky. We're blessed that we get to like, yeah. All right, bye. And then they're like, "Did you get that?" Like, I got some of it.
Yeah.
I was there at 10 a.m. Those guys weren't. Those.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. It's like you're there at 10, and then you leave at 8, and then we're there at 4, and we leave at midnight. It's just like it's a staggered.
I've had many where it's like 10 to 10 or 10 to midnight or 11 to midnight, because I'll offer up to 12 hours. And I'm like, if you've got a
Dang.
packed dance floor, I'm staying. Like, if
Yeah.
there's a lot of rotation of your guests, like with their dancing and
You don't wanna miss a
interaction,
shot.
I don't want to
Yeah.
miss what's going on. No, if people are all getting too raunchy though, then I'm like, yeah,
Well, because then it switches from memories to blackmail information.
Yeah.
This is stuff that will come up if you run for public office versus
Yeah, and it could just get dangerous, like with your equipment on the dance floor. Like,
That
you
too.
could get knocked over. You could spill drinks on it. Like it can get rowdy real quick.
Yeah, Chris saw my my tripod get knocked over a couple years ago.
Oh no!
Oh yeah. Have you heard this story?
No.
Oh my gosh. It was it was a couple years ago, and it was someone that I went to high school with, was like the bride, and so there were people from high school like there. And yeah, it was anniversary dances going on. I had tripod set up for a wide shot, like near the Chris's speakers.
best place to put it usually.
Right. It's like very obvious. And then I had one camera on me. And so I'm filming like on the other side of the dance floor. And I look over and I see this man walking past my tripod, and he trips over it. He is fine, but we just all watch it go down in slow motion. And exactly. So yeah, Chris saw it, the bride saw it, bridesmaid saw it, mother of bridesmaid saw it, photographer saw it. All came up to me at different times. Are you okay? Is it okay? And I'm like trying not to cry because I just bought this thing a week ago.
It's okay.
I was like, it's fine. The man looked at me and he was like, well, you have insurance, right? And I was like,
It's not how it works. Either way, you're paying a lot of money.
I was like, sir, I have a wedding tomorrow. So I like went outside and just like collected myself. It was just the lens that shattered. It was just a bunch of broken glass.
Just
the
$900,
lens.
$1,100.
just the
Oh,
lens.
$1,300.
$1,300.
Oh.
Oh.
I was like, yeah.
Gotta update.
But the
Gotta
SD
update my
card
pricing now.
right. Okay. My lens for that wedding cost more than the couple had paid me for that wedding.
Oh,
Yeah. That was that situation. So, and they were like super nice about it, felt really apologetic. The man who did it was not apologetic, but anyway, so yeah, I was able to like take care of that, and the SD card was fine, which is good. That was my main concern, was the footage. Yeah. So it got replaced, but
Did you look at the video of it like crashing and cracking? You ever looked
No.
at that footage?
No, I didn't want to look.
it's there. It's there somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
It's archived.
For me, anybody ever
Could be a
asks how
bit.
much I charge, why I charge so much, I send them that clip.
Right.
Just clip after clip of the camera getting knocked over by some drunk guest.
That'd be a good compilation, actually. Not
And
like
then,
a good one.
I
but-
would probably have reels of me just editing and just there's 60 hours of me editing. You just watch all that and you tell
you
me
go.
if
tell
I should
me.
charge, if I charged enough or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I do like to pull up the picture of the lens every once in a while because I had to take a picture for it for insurance. And it's just on my laptop desktop saver.
Oh,
And I just see it all the time.
Oh my gosh. So crazy.
Yeah.
So in doing this and traveling and doing destination stuff, and also just in DJing, jumping on our team, do you have any things that you like, oh, here's advice I would give to other vendors? Like either if you're a videographer, if you're a photographer, if you're a DJ, if you're anybody that you interact with, you're like, here's a perspective that I would provide if you're doing this kind of work.
The first thing that comes to mind is that, and I think people around here are really good about doing this, but just like the couple comes first, always. Like,
You're not the most important.
You're not the most important. I think you guys have said it before. Like, leave your ego at the door.
Bears repeating.
Yeah. And just like everything I do is to serve them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that may mean something technical. That may mean how I'm interacting with them. That may mean providing a crochet hook, like whatever it is, just how you interact with the other vendors. We are all here for the same purpose, and that is to serve the couple.
Yeah.
And I think if you keep that at the forefront of your mind, and then the technicalities of how to do your job right behind that, then I think you're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah. I would add too, like, and something I've noticed in you and Joe and all of our people is like, be ready to, of course, do the work you're supposed to do, but be ready to do some work that you're not prepared to do.
Yeah.
When
Move
we
a table if you need to. Like, I don't know. Like, just generally help out, make the wedding go smooth. Like, that is, everybody's on the same team. If they need to move the cake out of the center of the dance floor, I've done that more than enough times.
Same.
Like, we need to get the dance floor going. Let's get that cake out of here. I mean, just do what you need to do to make it happen.
When you arrived for that wedding, I was like, we're loading up, and you're like, oh, there's a rip on your pants. Like, I have a sewing kit. Like, you offer me a sewing kit, and I'm like, I'll be fine. But it was like you were ready, ready to go. You had a backup. You had the DJ has a rip in his pants. Let's mend it.
Yeah.
You're not a seamstress. You're not a
No, I'm not.
But I do this work. I'm ready to go.
I don't even know how to sew. I just
I've had enough classes to be dangerous. I know my way around a sewing machine, but I don't. It's not what I.
Needles.
I don't want to let that out.
I can thread a needle. I can do a little, but no. Yeah, just being prepared, like you said, being willing to be a team player. I feel like I've heard a lot of vendors before be like, well, that's not my job. Like, I'm going above. Oh yeah, I went above and beyond and helped out with XYZ, but then later turned around and they were like, but that's not my job. I shouldn't be doing that. This is why they need to hire so and so. Which it's like, yes, there's a purpose behind every job, obviously, but not everyone has the means to outsource all of that. That's so it's like, if you're a decent human that recognizes something needs to be done, like, again, put your ego to the side and just do it.
Every couple everybody's hopefully only getting married once, right? They don't know how to plan a wedding. They don't know all the people they need there, all the things that need to be done. We are wedding specialists. We know how the weddings need to go and what needs to be done. And if something's not and the person's not there to do it, like, why not just do it? Like, it is your job. It is your job to make sure that the night goes smoothly.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah. Your job is to serve the couple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
There's so much, it feels like, in recent cultural days, especially in American work culture, is like, I need to set a boundary. I need to, no, that's not my job. This is what I do. This is not what I do. And there's weddings we do all the time where I'm like, it's basically they rented a room. Like, the photographer is a family friend. Like, I recognize I show up to this wedding that I'm the only pro. I'm the only one who does this every weekend. So I know and see how a wedding should and can go and the best way to do this. And so people look to me to, like, do your pro thing. Like, make this the best wedding possible. And I'm like, I'm not a coordinator. I'm not a planner. I'm not a florist. I don't do decor. I definitely am not a good cook. You can talk to my wife. Although I made some bomb-ass mac and cheese last night. So her back was hurting, and I was like, why don't we just watch Severance and I make you the best mac and cheese you've ever had. So I have
sounds like a good deal.
I'm recording that for my own memories for the future, but proof that it occurred. But the only time I've cooked this year.
It's only February.
We're still early.
But again, the idea is, like, you have to, there's times when you're called upon to kind of step up and to kind of do more than you're being paid to do more than is expected of you for the good of someone else, for the good of the couple. And all of my favorite vendors, all of the best vendors, all of the best people who do this work, they know that and they accept that and they embrace it. And you're one of those people. And that's why we love having you on the podcast. That's why we love having you work with us and work for us. If couples are listening or vendors are listening, anybody's listening, and they would like to work with you, what's the best way they can connect with you?
Instagram is the top thing that people can easily see my work and message me and find the link to my website, which the website has my contact form, raycroftrecordings.com. So that's the best way people can get in touch with me, and we'll just email, Zoom call, meet for coffee nonstop until we figure things out.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Maycen, thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming on. We're looking forward to working with you this year and in the future. And of course, we'll have you back on soon. I'm Mike.
I'm Joe.
I'm Maycen.
And we'll see you at your wedding, and hopefully it's a destination wedding. Take care.
Have a good one.